Very special good morning, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Defo Show. We got Mike Louie Lubitz ready to roll there. Young Luca Panici Lubitz sounds a little feisty today, which is great. This kid's growing up fast, huh, Louie? I mean, it's amazing how quickly it goes. Trust me, the time goes because whenever I play tennis with my son on these Sunday morning extravaganzas in Boca, I'm looking across the net and I'm thinking, my God, that's my kid. He's 43 years old.
Yeah, I'm scared right now.
Where the hell am I? Anyway, good to be with you guys. A little bit better today. I don't know. I woke up. I wake up a few times during the middle of the night anyway, thinking it's got to be 6:30 already. In the middle of the night, I was giving myself about a 50-50 chance of being a scratch, and then everything just sort of lifted off a little bit. So the throat clearing might be Gurgles esque on the show today, but he's not going to be with us, so I'll take over that role and be ready to go. We're going to talk some NBA basketball. We've been trying to connect with our friend Grant Long, who, of course, has been a part of the Pistons broadcast team for a long period of time, 15-year NBA career, always great, tremendous basketball analyst. I believe he's going to join us on a video call as well, so that's nice. We'll get to see Grant because he's great. I had him on an interview. He was fantastic when I was doing the conversation show, which actually I went back over some stuff. I had to send something out yesterday to somebody pertaining to potential opportunity. And I'm looking back over this stuff and I'm saying, my God, this shit was pretty good. I was amazed even at my own offerings there because I thought, I tend to think everything is just awful. And, I'm the worst critic of my own work. I'm always amazed when people say, "Hey, yeah, well, you were great," but really enjoyed it. And the Grant Long interview, I didn't get to revisit that, but I remember that being a fantastic show. And I think also as part of that, we talked a little hockey on that program, and it wasn't Doug McLean, but yeah, we had a really good time on that show. So looking forward to seeing Grant here on the program today. And we'll get into some basketball because NBA back, NHL back now last night. Saw that Jack Hughes thing. That was fantastic in New Jersey. I love the way he brought out a fellow member of the NHL, not the NHL, the USA Olympic team, who was on the Sabres, and they had a little celebration. My friend Mike Jones on our handicapping show on NoFilter.net did an in-depth analysis of what teams. I mean, this guy was handicapping all the games based on what teams had the most Olympic hockey players on their roster, thinking that the teams that had the most Olympic hockey players on their roster were going to be in trouble as they came back. So he was handicapping all of these hockey games based on, well, they had 4 guys on the Olympic team. They had 2. I'll take the team with the 2 guys because the other guys are chomping at the bit.
The worst.
It worked in one game. I don't know if it worked so well in a couple of the others, but he did have the Sabres last night. They did beat New Jersey 2-1 in New Jersey. So the Jack Hughes return, a very touching moment. And interestingly, I mean, it's so weird life, isn't it? The paradoxical nature of life. Because as everybody was touched by the tribute to the Gaudreau brothers who were killed tragically, they were bicycling on the road in New Jersey the day before they were supposed to go to a wedding. And many of the players obviously had close relationships with these 2 brothers who were tragically killed, supposedly by a drunk driver. And of course, first thing I come upon in my New York Post today is that this alleged drunk driver is now appealing the indictment against him because he said that he found some evidence, or his lawyer did, that he was actually under the limit for being deemed to be intoxicated, and wanted a whole new indictment and a new set of charges, and it's an ongoing story. And you're thinking, wow, what an effing tragedy the whole thing was, right? You're out riding your bike, and he's claiming that the Gaudreau brothers were drunk, and it wasn't him. It's like, well, you got to be kidding me, man. What happened? I guess in this incident, somebody had stopped, maybe recognizing these guys. A car was driving next to him and might have been stopping and say, hey, look at that. There's 2 NHL players. And this guy, who apparently had admitted he had like several drinks, I guess passed this car on the right and swerved into the bicycle path and ended up killing the 2 brothers, which sad story. But it's a quick trip, Lubie. You just never know what's going to happen. I was reading tragically, Ron Duguay. You remember Ron Duguay, the Rangers? big time superstar with the Rangers, very popular player, battling colon cancer, stage 4 colon cancer at 68. Did not know that he's been dating Sarah Palin since 2022.
Oh, nice.
Wow. She apparently, has found something. I mean, she's very dedicated. There's a picture of her treating Ron Duguay, who was, wasn't he not like a real dashing, handsome guy, Ron Duguay? And there's a picture. I'll hold it up. I don't know if anybody can make it out, but there's Sarah Palin by his hospital bed. So a lot of ironies in life. Enjoy it while you can. It's a quick trip, Lubie. You'll see. Before you know it, you'll be struggling to play basketball against young Luca Panici Lubitz. When he starts beating you, Lubie, is when you have to give up the game. Legitimately beating you. I don't know. My son always apologizes to me for beating me in tennis, which was my game that I introduced him to. I've been playing this game for like 30 years. I should be able to handle the kid, but for some reason, he's a lot better player than I thought that he would be for his limited amount of experience. And he's always apologizing. I said, Jesse, you know what? I have all of this coming. I never let you win those one-on-one battles that we used to have at TY Park. All right, a lot of stuff going on. We talked a little bit yesterday about the Riley statue. I can't get over this. It really is shocking. You saw a picture of it, did you not, Lubie?
Yeah, it looks like Riley. And the suit, the whole thing, they have every detail, especially Riley in the 80s Lakers. Like, it's to a T.
The epitome of this guy. They captured his essence like you can't believe. I've never seen this type of rendering. I mean, when they do the unveilings at the NFL Hall of Fame ceremonies, you're always hoping it looks somewhat like the guy. And every now and then you get one and you're saying, who dat? Even if it's not a Saints player.
Exactly.
The Dwayne Wade thing versus the Pat Riley statue, though, I think sparks an interesting debate. I mean, should we not lose Art Basel to the city of Los Angeles? If I was running this art show, and I have a friend that was heavily involved, a guy named Bob Goodman, heavily involved in the origins of Art Basel. He was an advertising guy. He owned some horses. I knew him pretty well through a friend of mine, and had done some things and some business dealings, very minor business dealings a long time ago with this guy, but known him for a long, long time. And he was very instrumental in the origins of Art Basel. He, I guess, was the marketing guy for Art Basel when it first landed here in Miami. But he would have to be disgraced. I mean, you would have to consider moving this to Los Angeles because we cannot represent ourselves as a city of the arts after looking at the Dwayne Wade statue versus Pat Riley. Where did they get that thing, man? Did Mel Fisher find it when he was looking for the Atosha?
I don't know, because that's the thing. People love to say that Wade was involved. He might have been like, you can be involved in something and still not have 100% to do with the outcome. Like, he could have liked the image and liked the idea and still not wanted whatever the hell that is, because it looks not. I mean, it's weird.
Nothing like the guy, right?
It's nothing like Wade.
Yeah, you want to hand a guy a sandwich, the statue. I mean, you're saying, here, I know you're down on your luck, but and not to impugn anything about the homeless situation. I mean, obviously, you have to have great empathy for these people and sympathy, but it really did look like they took a guy out of the Camilla's house and said, here, and you just stand still for about 5 days while we sculpt this thing, and we'll call it Dwayne Wade. Pretty crazy. But the Riley statue, absolutely spectacular. And it may even look better than Riley originally did. When have you ever seen a statue that good, of anybody?
Not on. Like, with
Lincoln Memorial, maybe? I don't know. What?
The tie, the hair, they do the thing with the hand, like the whistle. Like, it looks like Riley to a freaking T. It's actually classic.
Pretty amazing. All right. And with that, we'll get into some NBA stuff. The Pistons did win last night over OKC. We're going to talk with Grant Long, and I'm sure he'll have some observations about whether or not the Pistons are not getting the respect that they deserve for being the number one team in the East. Everybody's trying to make a case. This happens this time of the year, doesn't it, Lubie, where all of the analysts and experts try to make a case for somebody else. And they just, we talk about this all the time with scouts. Why don't you just acknowledge what you're looking at?
Yep.
I know you've talked about it. You look at the East, the Cavaliers, they lose to the Bucks last night by 2. So just when you think you can embrace a team, they go ahead and sock you in the face.
Harden fractured like something in his thumb.
He broke his thumb, yeah.
Yeah, so who knows what he's going to be? He missed last night. Who knows how much time he's going to miss? Who knows what he's going to be? I mean, Yeah, that's the thing for the Cavs. It seems like whenever they get on a roll, someone gets injured, and however important they are, it throws off their whole system.
Well, I mean, I didn't see the game. I saw some highlights. They actually had a chance to tie it right at the end. Jared Allen had a dunk or some kind of rebound second effort that just was after the buzzer went off, or it would have been 118 apiece. This is very common now. Do you see this a lot, Luby, on your social media feeds? I know it's annoying when people do this at the track. It used to be one of the most annoying things that could ever happen to you, especially if it was somebody you didn't care for who had particularly bad breath. And they would get right in your face and show you a bunch of tickets and go, "Oh my God, can you believe this? I left out the two." Look, you're a loser. What do you want me to tell you? I
Of
mean,
course you did.
you want to see a stack of losing tickets? I keep mine in a pile just to remind me of how torturous it is and treacherous it is to actually engage in this activity. I've gotten in trouble. I've mentioned this many times. I used to be sitting in a booth there in Las Vegas, some sports book, and I get there early in the morning because it's great. You have like 12 tracks opening up at 9 o'clock in the morning. One of my favorite situations you can ever incur. Free racing form, cup of coffee, and maybe you already start drinking early in the day, trying to continue to buzz from the night before, which probably was only a few hours prior to you getting to the race book. And I would keep all of my losing tickets in a pile. Now, you don't keep your winners. So you might be up a couple of $1,000, and still it looks like you're losing your ass. And whatever woman I happened to be with at the time, would come around and go, "Oh my God, how much money are you down?" I'm like, "No, sweetheart, here's a couple of hundred. Go play some slot machines. You're losing everything." I'm like, you don't keep your winners. Just a pile of, I don't know, just in case I have to go through them later. Maybe I had like a show ticket I forgot about. But nothing more annoying than somebody coming up to you with their losing tickets at the track. And now the new thing is, and this happens all the time, Luby. I don't know if it happens to you as much as me, because everyone wants to show you their losing bets on their app. So I'm looking. You remember Shandell Richardson? I believe it is.
I love Shandell. He's
Yeah,
he
became a big NBA guy.
it's hard to get a read on. Well, I'm friends with him on Facebook, so it's hard to get a read on him because he's all over the place. But I really liked his NBA coverage for years. He covered the Heat for a long time, and then he covered the NBA at large. I don't know what he's doing now, but yes, I know
I
Shandell.
think he started his own basketball site and
Okay,
is having great success with it.
his basketball opinion's good. His opinion on, like, he tries to play the middle a lot, and you know me, like I'm not a fan when people do that. I think there's a stand to take, especially in our world, on things.
Yeah.
And I don't, and I'm happy for those who want to be objective, but I think you can't be objective about everything. And I think so he gets it. He and I go at it a little because, like, I'm very passionate about things and he's very even keel about things. But when it came to basketball, I was a big fan of his. I used to want to, he never did interviews. Like, he's one of the local basketball people that he never did it. Like, I would reach out to him. He's cool with Scoop. He's cool with all the people we would have on. He's like weird. I don't know if it's a shy thing, but maybe he thinks it's like, I don't know, but he would never do interviews. I loved his basketball opinion. Like, his basketball opinion is really strong.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, well respected. I think he has a tremendous following. Has people working for him. I mean, he's got like a Scoop Skolnick thing going, only
Nice.
internationally. Anyway, and he's always posting these parlay tickets that he makes. So he hits 9 out of 10 last night. A chance to win like $1,000 for a $10 wager, and his only loss was the Cavaliers.
Oh, and they were winning the whole
Losing
game.
$10.
They were up like double digits the whole game.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, but I mean, everybody's doing that. They're all showing you these tickets now. That's the new thing among losing propositions, where everybody starts to, oh, look at this. I had 19 out of 20. I can't believe it. And it's very annoying. It really is. Show me when you win. Just show me a pile of cash. Peel off a couple of hundred.
Exactly.
Here to Forrest. Go make a wager on your own. That'd be great. But nothing worse than having to commiserate with losers, especially when they're doing things like betting 10-team parlays. So yeah, we'll have Grant on. We'll talk about the Pistons. San Antonio now is the hot team, right? Everybody's talking about San Antonio. Cleveland was that team until last night. Does everybody's opinion quickly change?
Oh, well, yes. But, I mean, they treat it like the NFL, which is really not. There's too many games for that. The Cavs will be interesting because the Harden factor. First, is he going to be healthy? Second, will he not shrink away because they're going to need him to be big in the bigger moments because Mitchell's not enough, as we've seen. The Spurs are interesting because they're just young. This team for as much as people laud the Spurs, it's why the Heat do what they do. They haven't won a series since 2017. Like they haven't won a playoff. And again, the Heat, for as bad as they've been the last 2 years and the playing flirtations the last 4 years, have won a playoff series almost every year. Like I think but one. Like the Spurs, for as great an organization they are, when Tim Duncan left, they sucked and they sucked hard. So people forget that they now have Wemby and they've now put together a really nice roster, but they're young and they haven't won. Even last year with Wemby, whatever he was, and he got hurt, they haven't won a series. So that's people's, again, the Thunder are just dealing with a lot of injuries. And that's the other thing, right? Like it's who's healthiest at the end. The Thunder happened to be ridiculously healthy by the end of the playoffs last year. And the Pacers were too until Halliburton got hurt. Like the Thunder have dealt with this all year long. So we sort of just pencil them in. I'm curious how this affects them because it's a different year. The Timberwolves are a year older, so they're a little bit better. The Lakers have been together another year. Reeves has taken sort of a
People
step.
are really down on the Lakers, by the way.
They're not great, but I'm just talking about like the competition the Thunder would have to get through. The Rockets are a year older and then added Durant. The Nuggets have a new configuration, maybe they're a little bit motivated after sort of faltering last year. The Spurs have a better record or have a gooder record as a Thunder and are very long and athletic and can push because that's the Thunder. That's the one thing the Pistons showed last night. That is where the Thunder, it's where they need Hartenstein. Like they don't have a ton of size. Chet Holmgren's not a big. Chet Holmgren is long and he's skilled, but he's like a 3. He's like a taller Durant is really what he is. Like he doesn't want to play inside defensively. So like you need a Hartenstein, but they don't have anything after that. Like Duran, I was watching a lot. Like Duran was doing whatever the hell he was. Like he did whatever. He was doing whatever. The Pits, it's a new school game, so they weren't playing it. But to me, I would do what he did it with Shaq in that game 6 until Sam Van Gundy lost his mind and like Keon Dooling owned the last 5 minutes of the game. They just pounded inside. Like the Thunder have no answer inside. Like they really don't. When Hardenstein's hurt right now, but even when he's out there, he only plays so much. He's not like a 35 a minute a game guy. Like that's their weakness. So yeah, it's as good as the Thunder were last year, and as convinced as everyone is of them. To me, it's a lot more wide open. And again, in the East, it feels like the Pistons and everyone else, but they haven't won a series. So until you win a series, people sort of just try to find the next best team because they don't trust you.
I'm looking at this Celtics starting lineup that they played last night. Were they missing guys or something? What am I missing here? They had Jaylen Brown. They had White in the starting lineup. Okay, those are two guys that you're familiar with. Who are these other guys? Shearman. I got Sam Hauser was starting. Namias Queta. Is that how you say his name? Who the hell are these guys?
I feel about the Celtics.
I mean, wow. I mean, how have they done so well? Is that really their starting 5 in general? And what am I missing?
No, I don't think that's their general starting 5, but it's not that far. Again, I don't like the roster at all. Like Jaylen Brown without Tatum has like catapulted himself into a place no one thought he could be. No one thought he could be a number 1. He's been a really good number 1. And they've rode him, and Pritchard and Derek White have played good basketball. I mean, the rest of them are a bunch of people no one's ever heard of that I would never count on ever. But those 3 guys have been really good, and they're consistent where the rest of the teams have been up and down. They sucked for the first month and a half, but since then they've been they don't win every game, but they play very consistent basketball. They finish the game strong, like where the rest of the teams are up and down and up and down. Outside the Pistons have also been consistent. Like the Knicks have been up and down. The
Knicks right now are in a little bit of a spiral downward.
The Magic up and down. The Sixers, again, with the Embiid factor, you never know with them, right? They've been up and down.
He played the Sixers tonight. The Heat in this ball game, I believe, are getting a few points. And they're on the road against the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm going to look at the spread here, and you tell me if you think it reflects whether Embiid is playing or not. As Miami, I was just reading some analysis, and the guy, I think, characterized it perfectly. Whoever was writing the article says the Heat are the epitome of a mediocre NBA team.
Yes.
5-5 in their last 10, around 500 in general. They beat up on teams that are bad, and they don't fare very well against teams that are good. The Heat tonight against the 76ers are only 2-point dogs. So what does that tell you, Libby? The Heat are going to face a 76er team without Joel Embiid. Is that
Oh, I don't know.
a fair
Maybe you
conclusion?
never know with him. I don't know. He doesn't. I've seen him play here and there. Like I know. I again, it's the SGA thing. You can bring up like when stars are hurt, it's a big deal. I don't understand this SGA stuff. Like I don't remember the last time he played, and I haven't heard anything of when he'll play again. Like, why is that not a big? And I get it. The Thunder have literally held themselves in the top 2 seed the entire time, so that's impressive. I mean, do we really think they're gonna compete with like so? And he'll magically come back and not have played 60% of the like. It's weird. The SGA injury, I'm confused by. Like, we've never seen him be hurt. We've never seen him play after being hurt. Like, why are we just magically ignoring it? Like, it's weird that the Thunder, like other teams, have this injury issues even if they play decent. You're like, look at the Celtics. Like, who's really picking the Celtics, right? Because everyone's expecting Tatum to come back. They played well. They've been a top 3 seed for actually most of the season now, right? But without Tatum, no one takes him that seriously. Well, then why is that? Like, I don't understand. The Thunder thing is weird to me. Like, SG's been hurt a long time now. Like, Andy, well, they'll be fine. Why? Why are we just saying they'll be fine? SG has been gone a long time, and no one talks about when he's coming back. Like, why is that not a thing? Like,
I don't know why I got the impression that he was coming back sooner than later.
yeah,
I was watching a little ESPN halftime or whatever they had between games. They had the Pistons game on last night against OKC. Looked like a marquee matchup, except for OKC missing a lot of players. And that was followed by the Nuggets ball game last night. And the Denver Nuggets were ended up being victorious in this one. And the Windhorse was saying that the Nuggets played the Celtics, and they trounced the Celtics last night. And Windhorse was saying that the reports are and it's been discussed because I told you my friend Jimmy Walker is always listening to WEEI while we're walking, and they're going crazy debating. And I love these kind of debates because they're kind of nonsensical. Because you can't imagine that you would be better off without Jason Tatum if you were the Boston Celtics. How could you possibly take your best player out of the supposedly your best player? I mean, Jaylen Brown and Tatum, somewhat synonymous, are they not in terms of being the best player?
You now seeing what Brown's done without Tatum, it begs the question: is Brown better than people give him credit? Like, can Brown be a real number one? Which is what people wondered.
I think he's capable. He always demonstrated that. When Tatum was out of
player,
line,
but people always put him in like a different echelon than Tatum. Like, they would thrust Tatum into that top 10 player in the league conversation, and Brown was a consistent all-star, a really good player, but they don't really talk about him. Like, where does he rank?
The same parameters, right?
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
This season has shown maybe they should. Again, you always need your better players in basketball. With only 5 guys on the court, you're never better without your best players. It's about him to me. Like, again, he's still pretty young. Like, I don't know if playing him will hurt him more. I don't know how that works with injuries, but and you're not rushing him back, but it's like, okay, is it worth rushing him back? Was the question. Now you're a top 3 seed. It's hard to deny that you would think it would be. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's with him. I don't know. Like, they keep talking about him playing this year, but I thought he had the kind of injury where you automatically are missing a year. So I don't.
He's been out 9 months. Either 9 or 10 months so far since his Achilles operation. Windhorse was saying that if he just took normal protocol, he probably comes back by May, which would be second round of the playoffs. That the debate is: do you alter your whole strategy based on Tatum being back in the lineup? Because they have one approach when Tatum's in the game, and they have obviously a different strategy when he's not, which is based around Jaylen Brown. So the big debate there, and they've been doing this for weeks, is will the Celtics be better off capitulating to Tatum's return and reverting back to the strategies that they normally employ when Tatum's in the lineup, making Brown a secondary consideration, or are they better off going ahead and continuing the emphasis on Jaylen Brown and maybe making Tatum a secondary consideration? You could do that all day long, right? Because it really doesn't matter. We won't know until they actually have it. This Missoula, though, I have to give him credit to keep that team together like he did. Don't you find that he wasn't necessarily garnering the respect that he should have for winning a championship, Missoula, as a coach?
Oh no, I mean, again, people like me say they had one of the easy. It was like Patriots esque, like
Yeah,
not their schedule, but their route, and it wasn't on them. They can't.
they got very lucky. Yeah.
Healthy or not healthy, but every single team they played, either the best or second best or both players were hurt the entire series. So like it just worked out in their favor. That there's nothing they can do about that. But so a lot of people like me are like, they got a title, it's a title, but it was a lot easier than it could have been. Like so, but no, he's done a good. It's like Spoelstra, right? Where he's taking a lot of less. Again, you look at the roster. Me, I don't think that's their normal starting five, but it's not that far. And you look at it, like again, Peyton Pritchard's like their fourth best player. Like I don't care what he's done, he shouldn't be your fourth best player if you're trying to contend for a title. Like
He impressed me the other day. He really did. He had Andy Tiv type of moves. I mean,
he's they're a top 3 seed. Like what they've done is impressive. Again, they were horrendous, and it seemed like they were leaning into it. They got rid of Porzingis. They got rid of all these guys, right? They seem like they're like, look, we know we're way over the cap. We're gonna suck this year without Tatum. Let's just be really bad, and then we'll save money, and then we'll have a good draft pick, and then we'll come back with a new draft pick and with Tatum next year and go for it again. And then they started winning games. So it was like, okay, I guess not.
have to be considered. It's an interesting situation, especially with Tatum now. Supposedly, according to your man Shams Charania, he's been participating in 5-on-5 workouts with the team. College basketball, wow. I mean, what a shellacking. Rick Pitino's hair. Did you see Rick Pitino today? His hair turned gray. St. John's gets smacked by UConn in a rematch of a game that Danny Hurley, we talked about how Danny Hurley loves to cry. When he's not getting screwed by the officials, he's still complaining. And when he's really getting screwed, like the professor implied in that game at Madison Square Garden, which was a great game to watch, very entertaining. I think it was a week ago Friday. So they have a quick return rematch in Connecticut. And UConn wins 72-40 last night. St. John's missed its last 24 field goal attempts, Lubie. You talk about Brick City. My God, New York should be renamed Brick City. The entire area of Flushing there or wherever. Are they in Flushing? What part of Queens is St. John's actually located in?
Oh, I don't know. That's
the Queen of Corona?
I'm no idea.
Yeah, St. John's misses 24 straight field goal attempts to end the ballgame. They couldn't even get like a token bucket at the end of the game when it was garbage.
That's crazy.
Imagine being a coach on the sidelines and your team misses 24 straight shots. I mean, you could have put Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Jose Feliciano, Helen Keller out there, and Bocelli. And that could have been your starting five, and they couldn't have done any worse, right? That's an amazing phenomenon. I don't know. What would be the record for consecutive missed shots in a college basketball game, Louie? You would have to think that would have somewhere some lousy team went up against some giant killer.
Sure.
Or not giant killer, but some giant team, and probably missed 24 straight or more. But 24 straight shots? That is really. I mean, you could have put Luka out there, and I think he could have made 1 out of 24. No, Lubie. I mean, if you're handing him a basketball, even if you bounce it off his head, his little head, which you shouldn't do, Lubie, that's abuse. But 72-40, UConn in a blowout. I keep looking at the Chip Namius's Florida Gator team. Are people sleeping on the Gators? They were in a tight contest against Texas on the road yesterday, and they pulled away late. They ended up winning it. I think they were 7.5-point favorites, and they ended up winning 84-71. I was kind of tracking that from a point spread standpoint because I had an inclination to give that game out, thinking that the Gators are playing great basketball. and they looked really good in the portion. I only saw like the last 7-8 minutes in that game, and really looked good. So are they not contenders? I don't know. What are their odds to win the NCAA tournament? Should we discount the Gators as a repeat champion?
Oh, what do you mean? They're like a top 5 choice. I mean,
I think they're number 7 right now in the country.
I'm just talking about if you actually watch how they're playing, like Michigan, Duke, and Florida.
Like, Houston's lost a couple in a row.
Like Houston's another team there, but again, no one trusts them offensively. You saw it last year. Like their defense is amazing, but if they're struggling offensively, there's not much they can do. They live and die by the 3 a lot too, the Houston. So
when is Gonzaga going to become a cutie pick?
I don't know. I haven't heard about them. I just know
that in the country. They won by 41 last time.
Really.
We're going to take a quick timeout because we're hoping to get Grant Long here in just a couple minutes.
He should. I just checked in on him. We'll see. I'm hoping I've talked to him. So You never
Oh, it was
know.
great. I mean, and we'll dive into a lot of NBA stuff with Grant Long, one of our favorites, and a tremendous analyst. I mean, this guy's insight is fantastic. 15-year NBA veteran, of course, one of the original members of the Miami Heat, and now with the Detroit Pistons broadcast team. Grant Long going to join us here. Hopefully, you always have to say that in this racket, right? Hopefully, in a couple of minutes, and we'll be back with that in a moment. Now that
The time.
8:34.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently,
Joe Bees. The bees collect the pollen, bring it to Joe, he packages it, and he gets it to you. It's simple, 100% natural, and it's good for you.
There's only one place to get Joe Bees, and that's from me. Joe B.
If you want to look and feel good, call 877-300-5632.
You can't fake caring. Women can sense this immediately. You don't really care. You didn't really want to do any of this.
We now return to the Defo Show.
Oh, baby. It's a home run. It really is. This is fantastic. Welcome back to the show. Got Mike Lubitz, and you'll appreciate this, Grant Long. We welcome the great Grant Long to the program, one of our all-time favorite guests over the many years we've been doing this. Original member of the Miami Heat, 15-year NBA career, and, of course, analyst now with the Detroit Pistons for many, many seasons. And I have such a warm spot in my heart for you, Grant, because we were talking for so many years. Loved having you on the show. And I can relate to this because I did basketball broadcast when Leonard Hamilton was a coach, and they first joined the Big East, and they lost their first 17 games. And Leonard wasn't necessarily the most outgoing of personalities at that time. It turned out later on, we found out he has a great personality. But I would have to do the halftime and post-game interviews with Leonard Hamilton. And it was torture. I mean, it really was. Because what do you say? I mean, they're down 30. Kevin Norris has just fired up 7 straight bricks, 3-point range. The center, Popa, couldn't catch the ball in the post. And you're trying to find some silver. Hey, Leonard, did you take anything positive away from tonight's 30-point loss? So I know what it was like doing all those Pistons broadcasts over the years. And now they're effing good.
the ball.
Which is great. So, first of all, how are you? Good to have you on the show. Thanks so much for doing this. And how are you doing, Grant Long? Good to have you on the program.
Hey, guys. It's great to be back on with you all. And life is looking pretty good now from the sports perspective and all the way around. You know, we're here. That's a great start. What else can you ask for? Just a chance, you know, to be here and be present.
All right. We saw the signs last year. And I think, I don't know if... as Tim Hardaway Sr. dubbed him, I don't know if Nick Bavetta was officiating that game last year, those games in the playoffs, but you could look at a couple of those losses that Detroit incurred and point straight at the officials and make a big case, a legitimate case. I'm not usually one that wants to blame losses on officiating, but there were a couple of just glaring examples of what would seem to be Tim Donaghy type of calls. But the signs were there. Did you and the people of Detroit anticipate this level of play out of this team this year?
Well, you got to go back a couple of seasons, guys. Remember last year, this team had they tripled their win total from the previous year.
Right.
That never happened before. But listen, you're starting from 14 games. I mean, if you get good, it's not hard to triple your win total starting at 14. So
sure.
That was sort of one of those, let's just see what happens from here. But then when they followed it up with continued play and getting even better, adding some pieces, subtracting some pieces, and it still seemed like, wait a minute, these guys are still heading upward, still on a trajectory to move forward. So you figure at the beginning of this season, you think, let's wait the first, 7 to 10 games and see what it looks like, if they're flash in the pan or they're really on to something. And then they jumped out like gangbangers. It's just like it went completely upward, and the culture had been created through that 14-game winning season. The culture was created that said, listen, we've got to play better. We've got to hold each other accountable. JB Bickerstaff and his staff has empowered these players to make decisions on the floor. And I don't like to be the guy that says, hey, when I played, this is how it was. It's different now. It is different now. As players, we did not have the power on the floor. Not every player. Some guys did. The point guard, usually an extension of the coach. But in this regime with JB Bickerstaff, he has told the players they all have the complete autonomy to make decisions on the floor as to how this team moves forward. And I think when you empower the players, this is the results of that. Is if you empower the right type of players. Now let's say that also. You got to give the right type of players that kind of power, and it's going to be beneficial to you. And I think that's what we're reaping the benefits of.
All righty. So it's interesting because if you watch the playoffs last year, the two teams I was so intrigued by were the Rockets and the Pistons, two very young teams, built through the draft, a lot of length, really good defensively, embraced the three ball, but that's not the only thing they do. But you could see playing veteran teams, and the refs were involved in both of those series. Like they just were the Warriors, veteran laden, Knicks, veteran laden, just pushed it out. But I was like, okay, what are they going to be next year? Rockets go and get Durant. Pistons don't. Pistons make interesting moves. Add Duncan Robinson, a veteran who's been to 2 finals. Yep. Played big in the finals, a guy who did nothing all year and then would show up in the playoffs and in the finals and can hit the three ball. And actually, he's okay defensively, and he's an okay facilitator. If you watch the Heat in the playoffs those years, like just made smart moves, and you've seen the Rockets sort of tinker and the Pistons ascend, but people still have their questions, right? Because as of yet, they still haven't won that series, and youth doesn't get served in the NBA. However, my thing is they do matchups are always a thing in basketball, right? And they match up really well with all the good teams, the Knicks, the Cavs, the Thunder. The Spurs are the one team that are very similar in how they would match up, but like they match up really well. So to me, I know the youth is a thing, but I watch them and I'm like, it feels like they have the kind of team that's ready to take that next step. When you watch them and you listen to people talk about, or not even talk about, that's the thing is people just sort of want to subvert them. People want to like move past them and talk about the Knicks, the Celtics, the Cavs. Like, what are your thoughts on, they're young, but at some point, everyone takes that step, right? You've seen them take steps.
And here's my take on that, Lubie. The fact is that they are very young. And we've always had this back and forth debate about, how young do you have to be, or how mature do you have to be? How much experience do you have to be, or have rather, to move forward in the playoffs? To that, I say this Piston team, although they're very young, they went through a very rough period. The key players, Cade Cunningham was here during that stretch where they only won 14 games. So the key players have been beat up enough to know that that's their experience. We always talk about the young players don't have the experience. Well, that's their experience that they're building from, those losing seasons. So they don't have the playoff experience, but they've lost enough to say, here's how we win. We're not going to go back to that. We understand what that gloom looks like. We're not going back to that. So that's the experience that they have. It's not playoff experience, but it's winning experience, and that serves them as well. So when you think about the teams who are destined to be there, so to speak, the Celtics, you look at the Cavaliers who shored up their offense by acquiring James Harden at the trade deadline. All of these moves, in my estimation, even the Celtics are hankering to get Tatum back into the lineup. All of these teams who are making moves, especially in the Eastern Conference, they're making these moves because they've seen enough of the Pistons to say what they currently have is not enough to overtake them in a series. And I think that's why these teams have continued to try to improve at the trade deadline. It's all because of what the Pistons have been doing. They are the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. I understand Boston's going to get Tatum back. They have championship experience. And you go back to the Cleveland Cavaliers, for example, they've been there a couple of times, but they've faltered. They've just not had enough. They got rid of Darius Garland. They bring in James Harden, a pure offensive juggernaut. Sure, he is MVP, scoring champion, all of those things. Maybe that's going to get them a little bit better. That's the shot in the arm that they needed. I think they were already a good team. They just were not producing at the level that they need to be. So this may do it for them. You got to consider the Milwaukee Bucks, probably not in that conversation anymore. Giannis is there still, but they're not the team to beat anymore in the Eastern Conference. So it is the Cavaliers, the Celtics, and the Detroit Pistons. Chicago possibly could creep in there, but I doubt it. But those are the three teams and New York. I'm sorry, I missed New York.
I was going to say, the team that even you forgot and people have major question marks, even though they spent a lot of money, is the Knicks. And that's another team that I don't know what to do with.
Right. And the Knicks are right there, but they have won a playoff series. So you can't count them out. But I think it's the Pistons' turn. And I'm not saying that obviously because I work for them. I've seen enough. There's enough evidence out there, guys, that suggests that the Pistons have the right combination of players that can overtake anybody in a series. Now, of course, anything can happen. You got to stay healthy and all of those things. But I think they have the right ingredients to get through the playoffs. And I'll say here's one of my bigger reasons why, because they've played some of the best teams in the NBA. Now, they lost to the Spurs on Monday, but they've beaten the upper echelon teams in the NBA, and they've beat them handedly with executing the game plans and all of those things. So they follow the game plan. Schematically, they're very sound, and they play a style of basketball harkening back to Defo's days and my days, where they're very physical, and it's just the way that they play basketball here in Detroit. They're very physical, and a lot of teams don't like that.
Little bad boy influence. In addition to being down for so many years, I do believe, and I don't know if this is a popular opinion around Detroit, but they also suffered a little bit from Elgin Baylor syndrome, where
Yes.
Elgin Baylor was always at the draft lottery when I was with the Clippers as a GM. And he was like a bad luck charm. I mean, he was your mama's bad luck charm because they would inevitably just get screwed in the lottery. And even when they got the number one pick, I thought, wow, I mean, how tepid of a pick is that? Number one overall, Cade Cunningham. I didn't know that much about him. And then he plays on lousy teams for a few years, so you don't really see what kind of player he is. And you've had experience in the NBA, and you've seen guys that come into the league that were highly touted or number one overall or top level, top five picks. It doesn't necessarily always mean that they're going to emerge and be superstars.
Right.
And it didn't seem like Cunningham really was in the category of that type of player. And yet he's so impressive, Grant. They were doing a pretty good stroke job on him in the national broadcast yesterday. And I thought all of these accolades were well-deserved. And tell us a little bit about this guy, because he's very unusual for a player that went through the slings and arrows of outrageous misfortune in the first few years with the Pistons. And now, I mean, he just seems to be a perfectly suited guy to be in the lead role with that team.
Well, you know what? You're right, Defo. As a number one pick, he didn't jump off the page and say, "Oh, look at this guy, flashing lights," and just he's doing some things that we have never seen before. He did not jump off the page like that. But what he was very consistent in everything that he did. He's a big guard, so he can see, he can make plays. He's a coordinator of offense. He's an extension of the coach, as I mentioned before. So like I said, he didn't jump off the page. But sometimes you don't need a guy to just be extra special. You want to be able to just to look at to his future and say, does he have room to grow? Because there are a lot of number one picks who are, when they're number one picks, they've already reached their potential. That's it. That what you see is what you're going to get for the rest of their career. Cade Cunningham was one of those guys, and when you saw him, you said he's got a long way to go to hit a ceiling. We want to see that improvement. And if he continues to improve, he's going to be very good for us and the NBA. Now, in order to be able to see that, you also have to recognize, is he a person that's willing to put in the work to get to that point? And I think those attributes is what drew the Piston brass to say, let's get him, as opposed to Jalen Green, who was one of those guys who was phenomenal, a lot of highlights and all of those kinds of things. Then you might think, oh, that's the sexy pick. Let's take him because he's all over the place. Everybody knows who he is. He's got highlights everywhere. Cade was the total opposite. There was a lot of potential there that you had to harness, and you had to bank on the fact that Cade was going to be a guy that would be dedicated to getting better and running a team. And that's what the Pistons banked on, and they got their yield from it because everybody's reaping the benefits. He's a 2-time All-Star this year. This year he was a starter. All of those things came through all of the ugliness in his early career, guys. Remember, he went through that losing. He went through a couple of coaches now.
And he was hurt all the
still
time.
here,
The injuries.
shining bright. He's
He was
still
hurt all
here.
Bickerstaff, interestingly, gets cut loose by the Cavs, even though they had a very good season. They bring in Kenny Atkinson, who was highly regarded when he was a coach with the Nets, and then he was a Steve Kerr assistant for many years, and seemed to be evaluated as one of the better guys that you could possibly have on your bench. So not necessarily a huge surprise that the Cavs would make a move, and Bickerstaff ends up in Detroit. Tell us a little bit about what you know of J.B. Bickerstaff, because he seems to be the perfect maestro for what he's orchestrating right now with the Pistons the last couple of years.
Yeah, you know what? I had a chance to talk with him. I talked with him quite a bit, as a matter of fact. But when he first got here, we had a long conversation, he and I, one-on-one in his office, and we just talked basketball. And obviously, you guys know he's the son of Bernie Bickerstaff, so basketball is in his blood. He played college basketball. He had a short stint in professional basketball, so he understands all of that from his dad as a coaching perspective. His dad is around the team as well a lot, and he understands it from a player perspective as well. So he's got it covered from both ends. He's a lifer in this game at a young age, and I think he just relates well to players. As I mentioned earlier, he empowers the players to make decisions on the floor about their own success, about the team's success. He probably commands 2 or 3 things that this team has to do in order to be good. And you got to give effort, you got to play unselfishly, and you got to play defense. These are non-negotiables from Coach Bickerstaff. And I think the team, or he's got full buy-in from all of his guys. And that's what you see on the floor. When you talk about playing defense, everybody plays it. It's not just the responsibility of one guy like Isaiah Stewart, who's obviously the face defensively of this team. But everybody feels like it's their requirement to play. If they're going to play on this team and be able to have a free-flowing offense, get the shots that they want, those are the 3 things that are non-negotiable. And I think, like I said, that he's got full buy-in on that. He stands up for these guys. And every player, if you ask them, they'll say, what's been the biggest difference? And they'll tell you it's J.B. Bickerstaff and how he treats us, how he's created a culture of independence, yet a team type of chemistry on the floor. And again, the guys like it. They want to, as a player, you want to be able to get on the floor and show what you can do. But if you can do it within a team concept, it makes it so much better. And he's found a way to merge those 2 things. Another
key component of the Pistons' success, and it's interesting because I'm one of those guys that still likes to peruse box scores in the Agate type. Still get a newspaper delivered every day. I don't know if you've seen one of these recently.
They still make those?
Yeah. You'll see Duran and his name, and you start to see numbers, and you're thinking, who the hell is this guy? Talk about, if you can, describe his emergence, because he was huge in this ball game last night. OKC was compromised because they were missing virtually everybody, or so it seemed. But what about this player really appeals to you? Because every time you look, and it's interesting when you see a guy and you're saying, "Who's this guy that's getting like 20 every night with 10 boards?" So he's been a big part of this team's success this year.
I'm sorry, Defo. You mentioned you're talking about Duran.
Yeah.
Yes, he has. Man, listen, he came back from the suspension that he had. He's been back now 3 games, and he's averaged 25 points and at least 12 to 13 rebounds in that 3-game stretch. He's proven to everybody that they didn't make the wrong decision when they elected him to his first All-Star game. You could see this coming. His first season, remember the guy's 22 years old, I believe, 21, 22 years old. In his first season, there was a question about, did he have the motor? Did he have the motor to play night in and night out and be effective? And he has proven to me that he is going to has the want to be improved, to want to improve. He's shown me that he can do that. He had a skill set. He's big, he's strong, he's very good around the basket, but he's even gotten better. He's not doing anything differently than he did last season, but he's doing more of it, which is good. It's getting more rebounds. He's scoring more near the basket. Everybody talks about, when he develops this, 17-foot jump shot, he's going to be unstoppable. Wilt Chamberlain was unstoppable, and he didn't have a 17-foot jump shot. So I don't buy that. Well, when a guy starts to be able to add a jump shot, he's going to be better. No, if you can't stop what he does, why do I need to go do something else? And I think that's where Durant is. Sure, it'd be nice if he had that 17-foot jump shot. And here's the thing. I've seen him do those things already in practice. It becomes a level where you have to reach a level of comfort doing them on the floor in a game. And I think he just hasn't reached that point yet, but he has the skill set to do it. But for now, the guy is an outstanding post player, role pick and roll player, a facilitator. He's a good passer and strong on the inside. And most teams have not been able to stop that. And I'll tell you this lastly, I've seen him against the best centers in the league, and he has held his own against. Everybody talks about Wemby and how unstoppable he is and the block shots, the Joker, all of these guys. He's had great games against. He has not backed down, not even one bit. He has accepted the challenge and quite frankly exceeded what anybody may have thought he could have done against those upper echelon centers in the NBA. He's been phenomenal.
How important is positioning here as you go into the postseason? We know some teams that think they have the goods. There was the theory that, oh, well, as long as we qualify for the postseason, it doesn't really matter that much. And it's a grind. You come back from the All-Star break as a player, Grant, and right now, I mean, I don't know who does the math in the NBA. Adam Silver must not have been very good at that because I'm thinking there's still half a season left, but there's only 25 games left. As a player and as an analyst, what do you look for in the last 25 games? How critical are they, and how well prepared in terms of approach do you think the Pistons will be for this?
I think they're ready. I'm from the Greg Popovich school of thought when we start ending or headed toward the finish line of the regular season is that, are you playing better than you were at the beginning of the season? And that's where, if you look at the Spurs right now, they are trending upward. They are much better than they were at the beginning of the season, although they didn't have a whole lot of room for improvement because they started off very good as well. But they are continuing to play well. The Pistons, I think they have a 4 or 5 game lead in the Eastern Conference. It would be great if they could maintain that lead. But here's the thing about home court advantage. You could lose the first game and you lose your home court advantage. So that means home court advantage is great. So you get the first game at your place. That's outstanding. But home court advantage, if you lose a game or two, the home court advantage is given back to your opponent. So to me, that really makes no difference that you have home court advantage. It really doesn't. I've always wondered why that seems to be such a big deal in the sports realm that you have home court advantage. If you're going to sweep, sure, that's great. But if you lose one game, the other team has it anyway. So, that's one of those things that I just never understood about people fighting to have. But okay, if you have it, okay, it's great. But the Pistons are playing the type of basketball that I think they can continue to improve. As I mentioned, I think I said this earlier, that they've had some trouble defending the three-point teams. The teams that are very good three-point shooters, the Pistons have had some difficulty defending them. And I think they'll have to improve because as they get to the playoffs, the three-point shooting is going to become more accurate, so they'll have to slow that down. But I think they have what it takes to continue to improve and be playing well when the postseason starts. The biggest thing for this team is to be healthy. If they're healthy, they're a viable opponent for anybody.
All right, a couple of minutes left. I'm always very generous with your time. A couple of sidebar elements here. People, and we were happy to discover this. We always like to bring it up, that you have the distinction of having a brother who fought for the heavyweight championship of the world. And unfortunately, he blocked a lot of punches with his face, but that's what Kurt Sugar would say, and probably wasn't necessarily the highest qualified guy. They have, I don't know if it was a mandatory challenger, but would your brother, how would he do against Isaiah Stewart if they were in a fight?
Isaiah Stewart's going down.
Really?
Going down. Hey, nobody likes beef stew more than I do. But my brother, listen, he may not be good with the other professional boxers, but just the general lay person, they're in trouble with the Towering Inferno.
So this would be like a Jake Paul fight. You're saying that there's certain guys like Anthony Joshua that he shouldn't get in their ring with. We had somebody on our chat line. I don't know if you're able to observe that, but they were asking if you had any great Ron Rothstein stories. Ron, always a good friend of the program. I don't know what recollections do you have, if anything? My favorite Ron Rothstein story was when I was interviewing him one time. We were doing the Billy Thompson show,
Uh-huh.
and I was asking him, what kind of thinking, thoughts were going through his head when he had to throw Rowinski into the game, Bill Rowinski, and he said, "Thinking? I wasn't thinking. I was looking for the exits." What do you recall about Ron from your playing days with the original Heat?
Well, a lot of funny stories, but I got one that endears me to Coach Rothstein and will endear me to him for the rest of my life because he's just that kind of guy for me. We had my first season, obviously, still very green about the NBA. I had no idea how it functioned. So I was living at the hotel where everybody else who was on the team had already bought a place, living in an apartment or whatever. But nobody came to me and said, "Hey, you're on the team." I'm just waiting for that axe to fall and I'll be sent home. I don't know anything about how this thing works. And we were at a team function, a meet the team type thing. And one of my teammates went up to coach and we were all talking. And he said, "Well, did you find a place where you're living at?" And I think it was Kevin Edwards who said, "He's still living at the hotel." And coach looked at me like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, nobody told me I made the team." He said, go get a place. You'll be here for a while." That was to me for him to say that. Like I said, I was still green. I had no idea. He said, "You're going to be here for a while. Go get yourself a place."
Just the opposite of what we experience, and now you're part of the media, although you're doing very well and very successful at it, and clearly the people can see why you're a highly coveted talent. But I was always reminded, don't buy a house. So whenever I got it,
wow.
And I happened to get fired when I was buying a house the last time. So
same here. Same thing that happened. I bought a house and got traded.
At least you still had a job. We've been scrambling ever since. Last thing, a lot of people were talking about the new format of the All-Star game. I have to admit, I had gotten sort of indifferent to even watching it. I didn't realize what this new format was all about. I tuned in a little bit late. I actually watched a few of the games that they had. I guess they played 4 quarters altogether. And I thought it was great. I really did until the final. You saw the world team or the other American team, USA team, ran out of gas. I guess there were 3 USA teams, 1 world team. So I don't remember if it was the Stars or the Stripes, but they had just beaten the world team in the semifinal or whatever of the round robin. And then they had to come right back out and they got crushed. I thought it was great, though. I thought it was highly competitive. You saw some tremendous performances. Wembanyama certainly opened up some eyes around the country, and he's been playing like that ever since. And you thought, my God, look at this guy, the intensity he's playing with. Kawhi Leonard had a phenomenal quarter in one of those games. What did you think of the format? Do you think it needs to be adjusted? It looked to me like a step in the right direction from what we used to see, which was as the Jewish kids from Brooklyn used to play at the Jewish Center, Posnack Jewish Center down here. Token defense was already a mandate. I don't even know if they had token defense in the All-Star game, but what do you think about the whole new way they approached it?
I did watch. I thought it was pretty decent. But there's a whole lot of stuff going on around the game, the All-Star game itself. So it's, something happening here, then you got the American part of it there, and then it's a whole lot of moving pieces to entertain people. But I'm from the school that says I didn't think there was anything wrong with East versus West.
Okay.
Format, there was nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
The guys just needed to be more competitive. It wasn't a fixing of the game. It just needed the guys that were involved needed to be more competitive. That's what Adam Silver needs to find a way to do. Keep it East-West, but make the game more competitive. I don't know how you do that, but I like the East versus West concept. Again, you just have to make the game more competitive. And back in the day, it was. Now, it may be entertainment for the first quarter, but when that game got to going, you saw the real competitive players really step up and make something happen. It became a very, very competitive and watchable game back in those days.
Is it impossible to motivate guys for this kind of occasion with money? Because I just saw something about possibility of putting up $1 million for the top prize in the 3-point shooting and the slam dunk, which have sort of disintegrated a little bit in terms of star power. When a guy's making $80 million a year, can you possibly motivate him with $1 million payday to win the All-Star game?
I'm thinking along those same lines, Defo. I mean, what kind of money can you offer? If he's at the All-Star game, first of all, obviously he's making quite a bit of money. He's
Right.
an all-star, so he's making quite a bit of money. I don't think you can entice him with an extra $250,000 or $500,000. He'd rather go on vacation for 3 days rather than take that $250,000. So listen, I don't know what the motivation can be. That's when I've often said it's not always the quantity of players. It's the player, the quality of that player. If you got guys who are generally motivated and competitive, you won't need an incentive. The incentive has always been, to me, to get to the All-Star game. That's the incentive. I'm an All-Star. Let me show the world why I am an All-Star. That's the incentive.
All right. Well, very exciting things. Grant, always, great stuff as always. So we can't thank you enough for getting up with us here early this morning. And best of luck the rest of the way. We have a real rooting interest now in the Detroit Pistons through our association.
Yes.
And I'm hoping to go all the way. I really am. I find myself growing up in New York, I was a Knicks fan. Of course, became a Heat fan when we were down here for so many years. But I find a real soft spot in my heart for the Detroit Pistons through our friendship and long relationship over the years. And be real happy to see you in the locker room getting doused with champagne with the goggles on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's talk after the parade, guys.
All right, sounds good. Maybe we'll come out and join you for that. Thanks so much, Grant. It's always a pleasure. It couldn't have been more fun having you on the show. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you,
Grant Long, ladies and gentlemen, with us here on the
Yeah,
Defo.
it's funny because we would have him on, and I meant to say this at the beginning, but you guys got going, and Luke has been fun this morning. Like, we would have him on and talk NBA first, and then you'd feel bad because he does cover the Pistons, that you would do it's like what we did with Ian, where we would like talk everything NBA when we do NBA and then throw in an obligatory Nets question.
Yeah.
Like you would do that with the Pistons. You'd be like, and by the way, the Pistons.
Yeah, you guys are 14 and 42 or whatever. Well, they were 14 and what would that be? 58, 68? Yeah, I can't even do the math. 14 and 68.
Yep.
Imagine it. That was just a couple of years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
They did have Elgin Baylor syndrome. Even when they had the number one overall pick, they didn't get it. When they had the most ping pong balls, they ended up like fifth.
Like the fifth pick.
Which is as low as you could get.
Yeah.
And was that not the year when Wembanyama came into the pros?
Yes.
San Antonio jumped over him?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, imagine if they had Wembanyama also.
Yeah, with
really something. But at least they take advantage. You see the Sixers or the Heat play tonight with the process. And the process, how ongoing, how long does the process take? I mean, would you have to say they're in like phase 9 of the process, the 76ers at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. The process ended a long time ago. But like, that's the thing is people look at the Thunder and Presti's this great dude. They were bad for a long time. Like, look at the last few years, Westbrook and George, and they weren't winning anything with Westbrook and George, but they'd make the playoffs fine. So if you want to consider that them not being bad, okay. That was what, 7-8 years? That was a long time ago now, Westbrook and George. Like, the Thunder were bad for like 5 or 6 years before they turned it around. Like, people, this is the new thing where, and I'm a Heat fan, and I want them to be just bad to follow these teams' suits, but be ready because like the Pistons were bad. Again, they were really good in the 2000s, and it had been like 14 years if you really think about how long they were bad. The Sixers have been bad a long. They finally are consistent, but they still haven't won anything. Like, I'm down to just be bad and get picks and turn it around. But look at the teams that did it. It's not it takes years. Even the Spurs, again, the Spurs haven't won a series in 2017. Like, that's almost a decade. Like, even the mighty Spurs, who many put right with the Heat as strong organizations that build talent and build and grow and culture and all that crap. Like, Spurs were bad for like 6, 7, 8 years. And like, even Wemby's first year or two, they still were bad. Like, it takes a long time to turn it around. And you sort of got to stomach a lot of bad because the system does work. Eventually, you keep drafting, you'll find even the Cunninghams turn out to be really good. Like, look at the T-Wolves. They were bad a long time. Now they have an Anthony Edwards after having a Karl Anthony Towns. Like, but you have to bat a long time. Like, so it's a strategy, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be good soon. Like, it takes time to develop talent.
No doubt about it, Lubie. All right, good get, Grant Long. Always a pleasure, man. That was a lot of fun. He really knows his stuff, too. And very articulate.
He's a great guy.
Good guy, man. Original member of the Miami Heat, going all the way back to 1988. I'll still never forget that team. They were horrendous. We used to pray that John Sunvall would get in at garbage time and make a couple of threes. So we might cover an over after the other team had 140 points on the board. All right, Lubie, you and Luca. The Luca was a little restless today. That was okay. But kid's looking good, man. Saw that picture on Facebook. Very handsome gentleman, Lubie.
He's a good-looking kid. He also has a ball of energy, and he's an eater. So we'll see what that combination grows into.
He's getting big fast. All right, you have a great day, Lubie, and everybody else out there. Thanks so much for tuning in. Seems like slowly it's all coming back to me. And we'll be with you again tomorrow for a Degenerate Friday with the professor and some college hoops and also a big board. So looking forward to that. Apologies, Gurgles. What was up with Gurgles?
They had a lot going. Again, this is like prime time golf season in South Florida. So they had a lot going on at the golf course. So
good.
he was a wanted man. So it was like
Nice to see
totally
that.
understand.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow as we leave you know that.
The time.
9:09.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what the